Good evening, everyone. This is Nick here with NP Gunsmith and Firearms in Lewiston, New York. It's been a little while since I posted a video on here, so I just want to, come on here and give you something interesting. I'm going to go over how to disassemble a Rossi model R92. It was a little different than the R95s, different than the Henrys and the Marlins. It kind of has locking or lever lugs similar to the old Winchesters, where these lugs here that I'm pointing at actually what engage with the bolt, move the bolt. So how it comes apart is different. So we're gonna go over all of that. I'm gonna show you a couple little tricks. Hopefully, it makes it easier for you when you're going back together. But we're not going to take the stock and the mag tube off. It's mainly just the receiver here. As you can see, this one's been modified a little bit. It's got the Ranger point stock and fore end on it, which are pretty nice. So we're going to take this apart, get into where the trigger is and everything. I just want to take it apart, show you those little tricks, and then put it back together, and hopefully this will help you. So as you can see here, there's a little peephole on this side of the firearm. First, make sure it's unloaded. I already worked the action once, but you can see it's unloaded. Okay, there's a peephole here, and that's one of the first things there's a pin in there. It only moves one way, right to left. But before you can remove that pin, you flip it over, and you have to remove this cover screw right here. Okay, so I will grab my screwdriver and make sure I pick the right size. I've gone over this before. Having the right size screwdrivers is key, so you don't mar up any of your screws here. So pop out this cover screw, little tiny sucker. Okay, and with the right size punch, something that'll go through there, should be able to push that pin out. That is directional. Okay, hopefully you can see this. There's splines on this end of the pin, so that means when it goes in, the splines are going to be on your left. Okay, you don't try to jam those splines through there. You're not going to get it to work. You can set that aside. And now you should be able to pull your lever and your lugs out. Like so. Okay. So these lugs are what work as a bolt. Okay. Just keep that in mind. And you have to be aware of how they come out. So when you go to put them back in, everything is facing the right direction. Okay. So you can set that aside for now. We're going to go ahead and remove our stock. The hammer back up. So we'll remove that stock screw there. Again, make sure you got the right bit for it. And still just a little too big. Go with that one there. And if you're never taking the stocks off or anything, you sometimes might have to give them a little whack with a little rubber mallet, like this one's going to need. So just hit it with a rubber mallet. She comes free. Pull that off of there. Now, with that out of the way, here comes our first little trick. This will make your life easier going back together. As you're looking down on the mainspring here, there is a hole that you can see. So what you want to do is capture that mainspring on the shaft. I've seen people use paper clips. I've also seen these springs fold those paper clips in half. So what I use is a 16th punch. It fits perfectly through that hole, and it'll hold that spring. You don't have to worry about the spring breaking the paper clip. You're gonna appreciate the fact that you do this. What you do is you pull the hammer back, and there's a little half moon shape right back there. And when the hole lines up with that half moon, shove your punch through the hole, and it'll capture the mainspring. You just gotta have good enough eyes to see it. Let me flip this over. There we go. I'm going to try to get that through all the way if possible, which we are. There we go. You can see it's through the hole. Okay. When you release your hammer, it's just flopping around there. Okay. So your mainspring is captured. That is key. It'll make your life easier when you go to put this back together. Okay. Next, we're going to remove the hammer screw. Here's our hammer screw right here. So it's just, there's not a lot of threads to it. Make sure you got the right bit for it, and we can take it out of there. All right. Now the lower tang is going to slide out. You may have to assist it sliding out. It is grooved right along here. I'll show you when we take it out. You may need a small brass drift. I would use brass so you don't mar. This one is stainless steel, but regardless, whatever you're using, I wouldn't. Yeah, you're gonna have to drift it out of there. Shouldn't take much. I'm putting my drift right under there. As you can see, you'll see a little notch cut out in there. Drift it out of there lightly. You can see it's not taking much, and it's moving. Just like so. Now our lower tang and our hammer can come out. Okay, and your lower tang screw, your hammer screw, goes through there, holds those together. And when you go back together, we'll talk about it, but you gotta make sure you pull your trigger to the back as you're going together. Okay. You can set the hammer aside. These are the grooves I was talking about for the lower tang. If you look in your receiver, you can see them on both sides. Okay. Now, if this is where you wanted to stop, okay, you didn't pull your bolt out, you should be able to get it back together. But most people want to pull your bolt out, right? You want to clean your gun. And you got your bolt out. Now, the trick when you're going back together with these, and these R92s, it's imperative that you have a dummy round, an empty shell for whatever you're working on. This is a 45 long coat because you need to lock your round in there, like so. And then you need to lock your spring forward. And I found using a tiny screwdriver, it's the easiest way. When you go to put it back together. Because if you don't, you know that pin we took out at the very beginning? It goes in that hole. And if you don't do this, you'll not get your pin through the hole. So when you go to put your bolt back in, you feed it through. Okay. Now we're going to I'm going to undo that real quick while I talk. I'm not going to take out the loading gate door. That's just one screw. There's nothing really else to take out of there at the moment. So I just want to show you how this goes back together. And this is the big reason, okay? So we're going to lock our shell into place. And you gotta hold it down with some pressure until you get it back into the gun. And I'm holding it down. Sliding my bolt in place. Getting the shell into the chamber. Like so. It is imperative that you do that, or else you will not be able to get your pin back in place. Your locking lug pin is what I would call it. Okay. So if you do not do that step with a dummy round or an empty shell, God, please don't use a live round. Okay, if you're using live rounds around a gun when you're working on it, you shouldn't be working on it. Okay. So now that that is in place, we can go ahead and get our hammer back in, our lower tang back in, and then put our lever back in with our locking lugs. So when we go to put our hammer and everything back in place, this is you can slide the hammer up in, get it up in there. Okay. Then we gotta get our lower tang back in. Like so, you gotta hold your trigger back like this. If you try to put it in like this, your sear is gonna not be in line with your hammer. Okay. And just so we're clear, this is how you want to end up in there. Okay. You want to look like this. Not rocket science. Here's your hammer. There's your hammer. There's your hole for your hammer screw. Lower tang goes into it. As you can see, here's our sear. And here, let's see where our sear goes on our hammer. Okay, you can see our grooves. So hold it, get it in there. Not like that, but when you get it in place, you get your screw in there. Simple enough. So get our hammer up into the receiver. We will hold our trigger back, get it lined into the grooves, and all while you're making sure everything's lined up, you gotta make sure your mainspring shaft goes into the bottom of the lower tang as well. Okay. Like I just missed right there. Did not get my lower shaft in, so I gotta drive that tang back out a little bit. And do this all over again. There we go. Now we're just a little bit too far forward to get our screw into place, so we'll drive this back out a little bit, line our hole up. Perfect. Now our hole is lined up for our lower tang. I can take our screw, our hammer screw or lower tang screw, whatever you want to call it. Feed it into the hole. Tighten it back down. Can remove our punch here with the mainspring just by pushing the hammer down and putting some pressure on it. Like so. You see that now works. Now the last part, our lugs and our lever. Okay. Get them back up like so. Work it back and forth until you get it to go in the hole. Might be easier to slide this out a little bit. Go. All the way up. You should still, your shell shouldn't have come out. You should still be able to see through to line up our pin. Okay. Everything is in place. You have to slide your bolt out a little bit so you can get your locking lug and everything back up in there. Now remember what I said. I don't know if you can see these spline shafts on the left side here where my finger is. Can only go in one way. Okay, drop it in, Gonna have to give her a little bit of a love tap. You hold the lever up there. Oh, a little bit there. It's about playing around with your lever to get your pin through there. There we go. Just had to pull the bottom of the lever out a little bit. Take your pin, your punch. You'll hear it make a distinct noise when it's all the way in there. You want to hear that distinct metal on metal noise, so you know it's all the way in place. Then you take your cover screw, put your cover screw back in place. Snug it up. Pretty sure I did snug it, but just double check your hammer screw. Okay. Now, if you did that right, you should be able to work your lever just fine, and that shell should eject. Okay, let's find out. Just like that. Okay, so that pretty much is how you disassemble the lower receiver on a Rossi R92 model. The R95s are different. They're designed more like the more modern Marlins now that are made by Ruger. This one is similar but not quite the same as the old Winchester 94s. If you worked on an old Winchester 94 pre-64, they have these lugs. It comes apart different, but they use lugs similar to this that actually move the bolt. Okay, the newer levers, the newer Henrys, the newer Marlins, you don't have to go through all this to take your bolt out. You can open your lever this way, remove your screw down here, pull your lever out, pull your bolt out. They're pretty simple. These are not that way. There's a little bit more to them. So if you ever need to take one apart, the 16th punch to hold your mainspring in place, make sure you have a shell, an empty shell, dummy round, snap it, for your bolt when you go back together, because if you do not, you will not get your pin through this hole, and then you'll wonder why you can't get your gun open. Okay, so all that's left to do for this, stick our stock back in place. I'm gonna have to give it a couple taps. All right, take our screw, get our screw in there. tighten it down real good. And that is it, my friends. Appreciate everybody that subscribes to my channel. Like I said, it's been a while since I've made a video. I've just been extremely busy in the shop, and I just forgot to make videos. There's some really cool stuff that I did work on that I should have made videos for, but just, lost track of it. But that is how you pretty much disassemble the receiver on a Rossi model R92. Okay, those are the smaller ones, 45 long Colt, 357, 38 special. I think 44 Magnums in that model as well. Could be mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. But any questions on it, feel free to reach out to me. I'll give you a hand, but that's the biggest thing. I use a punch where I can. I've seen that mainspring snap paper clips, and then just becomes a pain in the ass to put that back together, and have a dummy round for your bolt. Especially when you're going back together, you're going to need it. If you do not have it, you're going to hate yourself. So that's it. That's all I got for this video. I hope it helps. Questions, comments are always welcome. So thank you for everybody that subscribes and likes my stuff, and I will remember to get more out there, be more diligent with my videos on stuff that comes through that I work on. So that's it. That's all I got for you today. Thank you. This is Nick from NP Gunsmith and Firearms. Our phone number is 716-481-7302, and we are located in Lewiston, New York. So thank you. You have a wonderful night. Bye.